What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the overall market and what data is going to be coming out for tomorrow. You should be watching for as time progresses. But before I do anything like this, before I talk about the setup on NIO and why it's looking bullish in my opinion, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. This offer ends tomorrow, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the markets. All right, so looking at NIO, we have some very interesting looking setups developing. We have an inverse head and shoulders like structure. We have this like left shoulder here and right shoulder. This could also just be like an inverse head and shoulders within the head of the inverse head and shoulders. So there could be a bigger one too. So right here, we have a small one, right? We have the left shoulder here, mini one, the head right here, and then the right shoulder. And we've already pushed up, making the full move. But this is just developing within a larger inverse head and shoulders. Meaning when you look, hold on, like right here on, I'm going to go to the 2-hour time frame so you can see this a bit better. This is still looking like an inverse head and shoulders, a bigger one, right? This whole thing could actually also be the head, right? And this right here could be the left shoulder, and then this could be the right shoulder that's starting to form, which suggests that NIO might pull back just a little bit, retest this 7.42 area, the 20 EMA, and start pushing up for $8 all over again. I think that there's good potential for that to potentially happen because we just hit $7. We tend to see more buyers stepping in. But the real question is, how will NIO move for tomorrow? What data is going to affect it? And this data that comes out in the US markets still affects NIO. I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but you have to remember, NIO ended up actually kind of like trading flat with the market yesterday, especially because Tesla, was outperforming it, but NIO was a little weak. And then today, the whole market pushed and NIO was up 5%. Do you think that NIO just pumped for no reason just because of its own news? Or do you think it had to do with the entire market's algorithms controlling it? I think that the algorithms played a big role in this, and this is part of why NIO was in the green. So what do I see for NIO? Here's my answer. Tomorrow, we have the PPI report coming out. This is kind of like CPI on the producer side. This is going to affect the market to some extent. And so far, all the inflationary pieces of data have been aligning with expectations. So there's a good chance it's going to be decent. And then we also have more data coming out. We have the 17-week bill auction and just a couple of other things like Barkin from the Fed giving a little speech. But there's not really too much coming out. So far, the market's holding up, and there's not really too much negative data. Now, for SPY, I just want to call out that on the 17th, we have over 3 or almost 3 million puts expiring and about 1.2, almost 1.3 million calls expiring. So we're going to be watching to see how these puts end up affecting the overall flow and how this thing ends up moving. As far as NIO goes, if you look at the chart right here, we have some interesting looking technicals. It's been a little weak, very low price pairs ratio. But once it hits this very low level at the 0.016 ratio, we tend to see buyers stepping in. In terms of seasonality, during the second and also during the 2 p.m. period and 4 p.m. period, and by the second, I meant like the second hour of the day. So at about 11 o'clock a.m., we tend to see more volatility at 11, 2, and 4 p.m. Make sure you watch it very carefully during those hours. And that's pretty much it for now in terms of like its overall estimates. The volume has been quite decent, 43 million, which is not bad whatsoever, as NIO is starting to show some life. So what do I think is going to happen to NIO? I think I'm leaning more bullish, and I think that there's a good chance the market could help it. So for tomorrow, we have PPI coming out. If the numbers end up being hotter, and I actually have the numbers here if you want to see them. So you can just take a screenshot of this if you just want to like save these numbers. But look at where it says the PPI is the core PPI month over month, and then PPI itself. The most important things are going to be core PPI year over year. We want this to be 2.7%. And we want the overall PPI to be around 2.3% or below that. We're hoping it's going to be close to expectations and the market could still like this. So we're going to be watching this resistance. As far as SPY goes, it's a little overbought, but that doesn't guarantee anything as it started to invalidate this bearish wedge, this bearish divergence that was basically developing. Now it's looking more and more bullish, and we're just going to be watching this carefully. If PPI is hot, we're going to retrace towards 447.5. If we lose that, 446.5 is coming. If PPI is cooler than expected or as expected, we're going to be testing 450. If we break that, we're going to be looking for a push up to 452.5, and eventually the 453s for resistance. What do I think is more likely? We have a bullish wedge developing. I think the odds favor the upside for SPY. I think that's going to push up to 452. I'm still leaning a bit more in that direction now. For Tesla, we have a bullish wedge. Tesla's going to try to fill its gap, in my opinion, at 242 going into tomorrow. So I anticipate a little bit more upside. I think Tesla's going to try to make its way up to these higher levels, and we're eventually going to get very close to 250. Tesla looks bullish. I think that this is going to help other stocks such as NIO push up even more. Apple stock looks like it has a little bit more upside coming. We have a bullish wedge developing on it. And then on top of this, you will see that we have this imbalance up here, this next resistance around this 190 area. So we're going to be watching to see if we could reach that 190 area, if Apple ends up reaching that or not. If it manages to not do so, then it could just kind of like range trade around here. We're going to be watching 190. I think that that's my target for Apple, and we're going to be seeing how it reacts to resistance up here. So that's going to be a very, very key level for it. I think my chart got a little messed up, guys. I'm sorry about that. Let me just go back to today. We're going to be looking for 190 on Apple. Could push a little bit more thanks to the data. If it's bearish, watch it retest 187.5. For the triple Q, we're going to switch over to the 4-hour time frame. Triple Q has been on a very nice uptrend. I would say that after all the selling that we got, we're finally starting to rip higher. If anything, we have this resistance right here at 387.5, also at 390. I think that if we're bearish, you want to see it lose 385 and start sinking back below that. If we break below that and fail to hold it, we're going to be watching 383. If we lose that, 380 is coming. If we're bullish, you want to see it break 386, then we're going to be watching for 388 and 390. My prediction and my gut feeling is the fact that the 4-hour looks bullish. There's a good chance it's going to break out, and I think 390 could be coming very soon. So I'm leaning more bullish, and I think that it could push a little bit more. On Nvda, I just want to show you this Nvda stock. If you guys have noticed, it's been pumping like crazy. Let me just show you how much it pumped in the past. You could see these crazy amounts of upside that this thing has had. And we're going to be watching resistance at this 500 area. So if we try to break 500 off this bullish wedge, 502 plus is coming, then 505. Nvidia looks bullish. I think it's going to be testing 500, and we'll see if it breaks or not. But I favor the upside a little bit more. So there could be more upside. The VIX is continuing to sink down. You guys can see this. The VIX is still looking kind of weak. We're going to be watching the 14 area for support. The dollar is continuing to fall, which is supporting the rally. Things are flipping, and this is what happens when you get some decent CPI, which is lower than what the expectations are. So for NIO, what do I think is going to happen? I think we have a nice inverse head and shoulders. Look for a little retracement in the morning towards 7.4. I think that's going to bounce and start pushing for $8 after that. So a little drop in pop is coming. Watch for 7.4 to be tested at the 4-hour 20 EMA. And I think that it's going to bounce and start pushing for $8 after that. I think we have this imbalance here. You can see on the 4-hour, it's looking more and more evident. We have a bullish crossover on the PPO. It looks bullish to me. And I think that we're going to drop a bit, then start pushing. On top of this, you will notice that we like to base at the $7 area, and the daily MACD is turned bullish after we formed a bullish divergence at 7.11. So it looks like a nice setup. The daily is looking good. Look for a little drop in pop, and I think it's going to be getting very close to $8 very, very soon. So I'm leaning more bullish, guys. That's what I'm seeing for NIO, and I think that there's going to be some upside coming for tomorrow and beyond. All right, so thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.